On January 8, 2026, the Supreme Court delivered a unanimous decision in Kainoa v. Hawaii, a case that would soon be recognized as one of the most consequential rulings in recent American history. The announcement sent shockwaves through the nation, with citizens, lawmakers, and legal experts all scrambling to understand the full impact of the court's words. The ruling didn't just address the right to bear arms. It forged a powerful new link between the Second Amendment and the Fourth, fundamentally reshaping the balance between public safety and personal liberty in America. The justices declared that the right to carry a firearm for self-defense extends broadly into public life, not just within the home, affirming that this right is deeply rooted in the nation's history and tradition. At the same time, the court ruled that digital surveillance of legally armed citizens requires a specific warrant, emphasizing that technology cannot be used to sidestep constitutional protections. This creates a new zone of privacy for gun owners, forcing both state and federal governments to rethink not only gun control measures, but also the scope of digital monitoring and data collection. Laws like Hawaii's, which banned guns in most public spaces, were struck down as unconstitutional, setting a precedent that will likely affect similar laws across the country. The court's decision opens the door for more guns in public, igniting fierce debate over the meaning of freedom and the demands of public safety, with passionate voices on both sides. The privacy component was the true bombshell. Hawaii's digital registry to track permit holders was ruled a violation of the Fourth Amendment, sending a clear message about the limits of government surveillance. The right to bear arms, the court said, cannot be conditioned on surrendering the right to privacy. Americans, the justices insisted, do not have to choose between their freedoms. This legal earthquake will redefine the relationship between citizens and the state for decades to come, shaping the future of American law, society, and the ongoing debate over liberty and security. To truly grasp the impact of the 2026 decision, we need to look back at the long and winding legal journey that led us here. This journey is marked by years of heated legal battles, passionate advocacy, and shifting interpretations of the Constitution. In 2008, the Supreme Court's decision in District of Columbia versus Heller was a turning point. For the first time, the court recognized an individual's right to own a handgun for self-defense within the home, fundamentally changing the landscape of gun rights in America. 14 years later, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin expanded that right even further, ruling that the Constitution protects carrying handguns in public for self-defense. The Bruin decision set a strict new test. Any gun law must be consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation, making it much harder for states to justify restrictions. In response, states with some of the strictest gun laws, like Hawaii, adjusted their permitting systems. They made it easier to obtain permits, but at the same time, they imposed tough new limits on where guns could actually be carried. By designating most public spaces as sensitive places, these states effectively banned guns from nearly everywhere people gather: parks, schools, government buildings, and more. Gun rights advocates quickly pushed back, arguing that these sweeping restrictions defied the Supreme Court's mandate and amounted to a backdoor attempt to nullify the right to carry firearms in public. Lawsuits were filed across the country, challenging these new rules and demanding that courts step in to protect what they saw as fundamental rights. Among all these legal battles, Hawaii's law quickly became the focal point, a test case destined to reach the Supreme Court and set a national precedent. The justices now faced a critical question: just how far can states go in regulating guns in public spaces without violating the Constitution? With the nation watching, the stage was set for a landmark ruling that would shape the future of gun laws in America. After Bruin, Hawaii's legislature passed Act 52, making it easier to get a concealed carry license but nearly impossible to carry a gun anywhere. The law's broad definition of sensitive places banned firearms from beaches, parks, restaurants, and most private businesses unless owners posted signs allowing them. This default ban turned most of Hawaii into a gun-free zone, even for permit holders. Act 52 also required all permit holders to be entered into a digital registry, potentially tracking their movements via smartphone GPS. Civil liberties groups called this constant surveillance an unprecedented intrusion. Gun rights advocates saw the law as a direct assault on Supreme Court principles. The paradox: you could get a permit but had nowhere to carry. The law's combination of physical and digital restrictions made it the most aggressive response to Bruin in the country. For opponents, a legal challenge was inevitable. The battle lines were drawn. The challenge to Act 52 was led by Alika Kainoa and the Hawaii Firearms Coalition. They argued Hawaii's law was unconstitutional, with no historical basis for its sweeping list of sensitive places. A federal judge agreed, blocking the law and calling the digital registry a dystopian Fourth Amendment violation. Hawaii appealed, and the Ninth Circuit reversed the decision, allowing Act 52 to take effect. The appellate court argued states could regulate firearms in crowded public places for safety. This created a direct conflict between federal courts, setting up a Supreme Court showdown. Kainoa and his team appealed, framing the case as a critical test for the Second and Fourth Amendments. The Supreme Court agreed to hear it, capturing national attention. The stage was set for a definitive ruling on guns and privacy. On January 8, 2026, the Supreme Court's unanimous verdict struck down Hawaii's restrictive gun law. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote that the right to self-defense cannot be confined to the home or nullified by declaring most public spaces sensitive. The court found Hawaii's bans lacked historical precedent, and that public safety concerns alone couldn't override the Second Amendment. The most groundbreaking aspect, the court ruled Hawaii's digital registry was an unconstitutional search. The government cannot force citizens to surrender privacy to exercise a constitutional right. This created a new legal doctrine, a zone of privacy protecting individuals from warrantless digital surveillance during constitutionally protected activities. The decision affirms that carrying firearms in public is a robust right, and links the Second and Fourth Amendments to guard against government overreach. The Kainoa decision is a powerful statement about the enduring strength of the Bill of Rights. The Kainoa decision sent shockwaves through American politics. States with laws like Hawaii's now face the reality that their regulations are likely unconstitutional. Some leaders vow to find new ways to promote safety. Others begin repealing restrictive laws. Businesses must now decide whether to allow guns or ban them and enforce that policy. The default is now that licensed individuals can carry firearms unless a business posts otherwise. The ruling will lead to more people carrying guns in public, sparking debate over safety and freedom. Supporters see this as a victory for public safety. Opponents fear more violence and anxiety. The real-world impact is immediate: open carry events, boycotts, and policy reviews in schools and transit. The debate over guns has moved from state houses to every coffee shop and public park. The court's decision has shifted the front line of America's gun debate to daily life. Legal experts across the country agree. Kainoa versus Hawaii marks a monumental shift in the landscape of constitutional law, one that will be studied and debated for years to come. The decision is already being hailed as a turning point in how the courts interpret both individual rights and government authority. Professor David Cole, a leading constitutional scholar, calls it the most significant expansion of Second Amendment rights since the landmark Bruin case. He notes that the ruling not only broadens gun rights, but also sets a new precedent for how courts may approach similar cases in the future. The Supreme Court's unanimous verdict sends a powerful and unmistakable message. The era of broad, discretionary gun control laws is coming to an end. This decision signals a dramatic change in the balance between public safety and individual freedoms. Technology and privacy experts are also weighing in, highlighting the ruling's far-reaching Fourth Amendment implications. They point out that the decision could reshape how courts view privacy in the context of constitutional rights. Jennifer Granick of the ACLU says the court has created a zone of privacy for constitutional activity, with major implications for protesters, journalists, and anyone engaging in protected speech. She emphasizes that this new legal standard could affect how law enforcement interacts with the public during demonstrations and other gatherings. Not all experts are optimistic, however. Adam Winkler warns that the decision ties states' hands in preventing gun violence and imposes a rigid historical test that may not account for modern realities. He cautions that this could make it harder for lawmakers to respond to emerging threats. While the ruling is seen as a major win for gun rights advocates, some argue it could be a setback for public safety, raising concerns about increased risks in communities across the nation. Legal scholars now predict a new wave of litigation over what exactly counts as a sensitive place. Courts will likely be asked to clarify which locations can lawfully restrict firearms under the new standard. The legal fight will now focus on specific locations, such as hospitals, daycare centers, and other vulnerable sites, rather than on broad, sweeping categories. Each case will test the boundaries of the court's decision. The ongoing legal battle over the Second Amendment has entered a more granular and complex phase, with courts expected to play a central role in shaping the future of gun regulation. The full implications of this historic ruling will continue to unfold for years to come, influencing not just gun laws, but the broader interpretation of constitutional rights in America. While the Second Amendment aspect grabbed headlines, the Fourth Amendment ruling may have the widest impact. The court's rejection of Hawaii's digital tracking registry was a powerful stand against government surveillance. Using technology to monitor citizens exercising constitutional rights, the court said, is a profound privacy violation. The ruling draws a line from the framers' fear of general warrants to today's digital tracking. The court compared Hawaii's registry to a modern general warrant. More intrusive than the physical searches the Fourth Amendment was meant to prevent. This new zone of privacy shields not just gun owners, but protesters, journalists, and others from warrantless digital surveillance. Law enforcement and tech companies now face higher hurdles to monitor groups or share location data with the government. The Kainoa decision ensures the Bill of Rights protects both our physical and digital lives. The Supreme Court's decision in Kainoa versus Hawaii has redrawn the boundaries of American freedom. It's more than a gun ruling, it's a statement on the relationship between citizens, the state, and technology. State-level gun control is curtailed and government surveillance is checked. The responsibility now falls to communities, businesses, and individuals to navigate this new landscape. The legal questions are settled for now, but social and political debates remain. Communities must balance the right to carry with the desire for safe public spaces. Businesses must weigh customer rights against employee safety. Civic engagement is crucial. Stay informed, participate, and help shape your community's response. The Kainoa decision challenges us to be active, informed participants in American self-government. The future of our rights and safety is in our hands.